So how much fun was it getting ready to paint?
It was a lot of work.
It sure does look nice now that it's painted, doesn't it?
It does.
So what all went into getting our interior prepped for paint? We've heard over and over again that it's 90% prep and very little is actual painting. It turned out to be pretty true.
Very true.
So if you remember our test paint video where we were scuffing and not scuffing, primed and not primed, we wanted to get a feel for how paint takes to different surfaces under different conditions. We left out one important element in that test, didn't we? We didn't wash anything.
True. So it stuck a little with the dirt on it.
Yeah. I mean, actually, our simple, small-scale paint test kind of looked pretty good. But that's not what we were, we got a big thing here to paint and we wanted it nice. So from a high level, the steps were, let's scuff everything up. We didn't bother cleaning too much before we scuffed because we knew scuffing was going to
make it dirty, but we did, vacuum it out and, do a little tidying up.
Yeah, we've been trying ever since we put the floor down in the baggage compartment to be conscious of every time we drill, every time we cause shave-ins that we're cleaning up after ourselves. So, but it was scuff time. We just spent all Friday night scuffing.
Friday night and all day Saturday.
Saturday was all about the actual taping off, though. We did all the scuffing on Friday night before our friend came over. We knew that. Well, I'm lazy, but Melissa, she can't be bending over, and
it's getting harder and harder.
So we enlisted the help of our friend Jacob, who's kind of our go-to person when we need extra help. It's like the only time we see Jacob is when we have chores to do. We got to cut trees down. We got to move something heavy. Jacob's here to the rescue. So thank you, Jacob. But come over for fun one time. Scuffing, we scuffed more detail than any bare aluminum.
We scuffed everything, even primed aluminum.
But we scuffed more in the bare aluminum.
Yes.
The stuff that was primed, we still scuffed, but we didn't.
Not as much.
Yeah, not as much. Just trying to get that nice rough edge on it. But everything, if it was there, it got scuffed.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next morning, we started breaking out the painter's tape. Now, this is a task that in my head went one way, and in reality went a completely different way. You really have to think about your lines. Where do you want the line of paint to be? And I watched a lot of automotive paint YouTube channels and watched their techniques of how they tape things off. Man, they make it look easy. If you're good at painting, you're my hero. And I'm going to send you work because I will not invest the time it takes to be good at painting. That's hard.
You tried so hard.
I tried. I thought, you watch it on YouTube, you think you can do it. It's not always that easy. So some of our friends took a relatively simplistic approach to painting and just put plastic over the center section and the channels and taped off. But when they ripped up or pulled up the tape, you have a line that, yes, it will be covered by the access panels. We didn't want those lines. So we really wanted our lines to be even with the parts that disappear, so that even when we pull the access panels, we still see a little paint. Was it worth it? Looks nice.
I like it.
But it really got creative. So first step, let's just tape off the easy things. Keep in mind, plastic itself will never create a straight line. So plastic covers big spots, but you need to put tape down where you want a straight line. Then you can put tape on the plastic and attach the plastic to that tape, and that helps extend the tape over that section so you can keep things safe. Simple concept, made to look very simple on YouTube videos. Some of the complex edges that we have here got really complex.
Yeah, you were saying some nice little words while you were working on that.
There's a reason why we don't often capture audio and we only do time lapse when we do this kind of work, because If anybody's heard all the 4-letter words that came out, while a build happens, maybe less people will build. And we do want more people to feel like they can build. So get the tape out and let's really just start taping around the edges. Some of the more challenging parts were first on the firewall. You got a choice. You got some metal that is on the firewall that is not actually part of the firewall. Simple thing is tape off the entire firewall, put plastic over the entire firewall, and realize that those stiffeners and those braces will be covered by the instrument panel and no one will ever see them, and don't worry about painting them.
It was an option.
That was an option. Was that the option you chose?
No.
So detailed work along the firewall. So taping up the edges where we could, and then the nose gear brace that's at the very bottom. It's a white powder coated piece. I just wanted to cry. I actually let Jacob. Jacob said, "Oh, that's easy. We just small pieces do that. I'll get down there." So he did all the detail work on that. Did about 95% good job. There's a little paint leaking through on the powder coat, but almost no paint whatsoever on the firewall itself. Now, we quickly realized we have some complex areas on those pieces because of how the stiffeners and the braces, what do we call those? What do we call these things? Call them stiffeners for now, but
aluminum bars on the firewall.
Yes. The way they merge together, I knew that even when I had the paint gun out, there's no way I was going to be able to get both sides. So this inside area, which even in a inspection, you're going to have to get a mirror back there to see. It's not painted, but don't tell her. Don't tell her.
I'm okay with it. You can't directly see it.
Yes. But what we did get painted looks fantastic. So then we had to turn our attention to some of the open areas in the baggage compartment. So between the baggage floors, there's an open channel where a lot of our wiring, pitot-static, and our control surfaces, our push tubes, push rods for the elevator is going to go. So obviously inside does not get painted. So, but we want a clean line. Simple thing is put tape down over the nut plates and have plastic in between it, but when you pull it up, you're going to have painted area and then a sharp line that's not painted. So we didn't want that. And if you're painting a more neutral color, that line will probably go unnoticed.
Yeah.
When you're doing something as bold as bright red, come on, we're the VRs, we do bright red. I'm red on red right now. That's how much we like red. Is going to be bold.
You got to make sure your lines are neat.
Especially since our prime sections is a dark gray. Yeah. That would actually look good though. That color combination would look good, but just not right there.
Yeah.
So we had to, where that edge comes down, tape. So if the edge is here, and my hands are such a bad analogy for this, put the tape down there and then get the plastic taped to that so that we have a clean line on top and we don't get anything on the side. So we get the center channel covered. Then where the step connects in the back, you have two open access panels. And it's complex little braces in between there. So getting the tape around there and that covered was a challenge. We used a mix of plastic and some rolled paper rolls, kind of like packing paper. They also sell it for paint. Harbor Freight has all this stuff. It's great. So covered up each of those access panels as needed.
From the bottom.
Yeah, it was weird from the bottom.
And then taped.
And then, yeah, I don't even know how we get... Jacob was looking at that and said, dude, I don't know how you're going to do this. I'm like, I got this. What are you doing? It's like, I have no clue, but we're going to figure this out. So just went to work getting tape in there and sticky side up and getting paper in there, and it worked.
Yeah.
So then the fun part, the center channel over the spar. Obviously, we want zero paint on the wing spar. It's nice gold, anodized, beautiful. We don't want that to have any paint on it. We have...
That's where we use the cardboard, right?
No, we did not use any cardboard.
Oh, okay.
We, again, same thing between all the ribs, getting taped down to make our solid lines, and then taping plastic to that in the different spots, wrapping it up.
Yeah.
But down on the front side where the fuel line, the main fuel lines come out of the tank, you get this really interesting corner that there's no place to make a straight line. So we kind of winged it. Again, if you're inspecting our airplane and grading our paint job, you're going to give us a C- at that spot. We don't care. We love it. It's fine.
It's going to be covered up with interior anyway.
Yes. So the plastic, we just got creative with the plastic and the paper and just taping it off down there. We did not want our control tube that the sticks mount to get any paint on them whatsoever. We didn't want to our fuel lines, which we did run. We did at the last minute take out the fuel selector valve, which I'm glad we did. So then after we got that taped off, we have the center channel that runs up the firewall where our fuel pump and our fuel selector valve and everything that runs up to the engine. Obviously, we don't want to paint in there. So it's just really an exercise of tape a little, put some plastic or paper down, block everything, go do it again. Then we really went to town on wiping it down one more time, making sure that we've vacuumed nicely.
Vacuumed, and like we even used little picks to get little shavings out in tight spots. We were trying to be meticulous.
So all day, and then the final step was degreaser. So we got some mineral spirits from Home Depot, odorless mineral spirits. Just put it in a squeeze bottle. We'd spray it down, wipe it down with a microfiber cloth, let it dry. Let that sit overnight. Now, it's important that once you do your final degreasing run, that you don't touch anything with your fingers. So we made the decision that night that, well, we still have to move this to where we're going to paint it. So we're going to touch it. So we degreased once just to get a really good clean on it. When it came time to move, we put a plastic piece, which we had plenty of extra plastic, over the whole thing, moved it over to where we were going to paint, and then we did our final degrease run in the paint booth with gloves on at that point.
Yeah, and then give it some time to air out and dry.
Yep. It took several hours on Friday night, all day, hard day, Saturday. That was a lot of work, Saturday. When it came time to actually do the paint, it was, the prep time was far more than the actual painting. Yeah. But that prep work, I go through and I can clearly see where we laid the lines, why we did it, and I'm happy with the way it came out.
So, is your biggest upset that you decided to take out the canopy or the canopy door latch?
At the time, it was the right decision. So, rewind several episodes where we were installing the JD air latch. We decided, and it has to be the right decision. We removed the JD air latch so we can paint to get the braces for the latch to paint, because I have no clue how we would tape that off had we not removed it. Removing it, easy, no problem. We just put it back in a couple nights ago. I don't think we had the cameras rolling. If so, it needs heavy censorship.
It was probably for the best that they weren't.
Putting it back in because of how tight the space is and where the washers need to go.
It was a rough night.
It was a rough night. And
totally worth it, though.
It was worth it. We got it back on. We still got some tweaks to do to make it get back to where it was, but I think we got that. God, what else did we do in the prep work that It's worth calling out.
So for the vents, we just made a square.
Yes.
Because we knew we couldn't paint underneath them, but we still needed to paint the actual vents.
Yep.
So we just sort of taped off a square and left room.
I'm not sure how well it shows up on camera here, but we'll get a close-up of it. So we just tape off a perfect square after I put the vents in place to mark off the space it needed. Because when it comes time to put the vents on, you don't rivet them in, you don't permanently secure them. Well, you do permanently secure them, but you use adhesive to put them on. So paint will interfere with that adhesive. If you paint that area before you put the vents on, you will be sanding down a lot of paint so that you can put them on. So we just went ahead and did that. Again, it's a big blemish, if you will, of a big area that's not painted. We're not worried about that because we're going to have the classic Aero interior that's going to fully cover that section anyways. You won't see it unless we're pulling the interior off for some reason. Oh, the access panels that are right underneath your feet. So when you're sitting there, you've got some access panels that were there. Again, the simple thing, don't paint any, cover everything from here and start painting on the floor and avoid the firewall completely. That's the simple thing. We wanted, again, bold color. We didn't want anything standing out. So this part, although it will be covered by Classic Aero, we believe, we wanted this painted. So we had to figure out how to get paper taped in securely enough that we can spray the front, but not allow paint to get inside on our control stick or anything on the inside. How do you do that? Just close your eyes and do the best you can. It was an exercise of taking the paper, folding it about the right size, putting tape on the sides, getting your hand in there and taping it off. Word of warning, the order you do that's important. Because if you do that before you cover the top, you can put your fingers in here and secure the tape.
So which way did you do it, hon?
One of each. I wanted to try both. One side, we did it in the right order. Then we got to work on the plastic and we got the other side. Crap. So you can get two of them, but you get to the last one and you're really got just a little bit of fingers around the side. So think about the order you're doing it. Think about what access you're losing as you're covering things, and take your time. Some things might be worth ripping things back up, taking a step back, doing it, and then put a new tape down to cover it. But you will get tired by the end of this, and you'll start making bad decisions.
But we got through it.
We got it done. So it looks phenomenal. It won't pass the close test. The closer you get, you'll see some blemishes. You'll see some spots that didn't get fully covered. But it's considering the fact that I was painting from an angle that you would be looking at it, the things that you can see are great, and it's the things that you really have to look at with a mirror that the gun couldn't get the right angle on. That's where the blemishes are, and I'm okay with that. But it pops. It looks great.
I think it turned out fabulous.
Thanks for all your help on the prep side. Thank you, Jacob, for
doing
the real hard work. Because I'll admit there was a moment where I'm like, he's working hard and I'm tired. I'm just going to sit back and let him do it. I feel kind of bad, but Jacob is that kind of awesome friend of ours that thank you for all your help. So reach out to us if you have questions about how to prep yours. I don't think my answers are the best, but we'll give you the best we can. So thank you for joining us on 14 Victor Echo.
See you next time.